When it comes to the 2025 Denver Broncos, what will be their biggest strength and what will be their biggest weakness? And which of those two are going to keep them from getting to the promised land? I'll answer that question in about 5 seconds. All right, Broncos country, let's dive into this. We know what the roster looks like. We know what the key pieces are going to be for the Denver Broncos. So where does their biggest strength lie? And what is the biggest weakness that could hurt Bo and the Broncos from taking another step in year number 2? I want to give a hat tip to Pro Football Focus. They wrote about this with every NFL team, and I don't care about every NFL team. I care about the Broncos. So I went and read about the Denver Broncos. Their biggest strength is something that I don't have much pushback for, and I don't know that you would either out there in Broncos country. You know what it is? Let's yell it together for TV at the same time. 1, 2, 3. It's the defense. Of course it's the defense. It was elite in 2024. I mean, heck, we could go back 10 years, 9 years. The defense has held their own through this, rebuild and now reboot, if you're Vance Joseph, with Bo Nix in charge down there. The defense is going to be their biggest strength. You talk about what they did a year ago on the defensive line with 63 sacks. That's a team record for the Denver Broncos. It led the NFL. They had multiple guys get 5 sacks or more, and you know what Nick Bonito did as 13 and a half sacks, leading the team and being a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. By the way, the guy he lost to, he's also on the Denver Broncos in Pat Surtain. So we know what the defensive line is. We know what the corners are. We know PS2 is going to lock down one complete side of the field, and then Riley Moss and Jahdae Barron, the 20th overall pick from Texas, they're going to battle it out in camp to see who's on the other side of PS2, and I'd imagine both of them get plenty of reps this season. Linebackers, they added Dre Greenlaw from San Francisco. Alex Singleton is coming back from a pretty significant injury. Now, they're both coming back from big injuries, and they're both getting a little bit older. So that, if I had to pick a weakness on the biggest strength that is the defense, it's that linebacking group, because I just don't know. I don't know what Dre Greenlaw is going to look like post-injury. I don't know what Alex Singleton's going to look like post-injury. I actually did get a chance to talk to Alex Singleton about a week ago, at this UC Health Swings event. Well, it got rained out, so they didn't even hit home runs, but we were there, so we talked with Alex. He was fired up, man. He said, look, I got emotional when they're fitting me for my helmet because I missed the game so much. He says he's moving very well. He continues to tell us, you'll see when you guys get out to training camp. So I guess we just have to wait for that. But that's my biggest unknown. Even behind the safeties, I think Brandon Jones and Hufanga are going to be absolutely outstanding in your safety positions. PJ Locke now becomes a depth piece. That's a great depth piece from the safety position. So PFF nails that one. I 100% agree that the Broncos' biggest strength is their defense. Now, Vance Joseph, he's going to be on a hot seat if this defense does not hold its own. And we've talked about it here before on Dover on Denver. We're not talking top 10. I'm not even talking top 5. VJ, you have to have a top 3 defense this year throughout the entire season. Can't be a top 5 defense and then fall off in the last month because Riley Moss got hurt like you did in 2024. If that's the case, I think Vance Joseph could be looking for a new job, and Jim Leonard could be sliding in as the Broncos defensive coordinator. But for now, that's the biggest strength. It is how good this defense is going to be. What's the biggest weakness? All right, if we just talked about the defense, I'm going to talk about the offense a little bit. And it almost feels like a slight that I'm going to call the lack of unknown weapons the Broncos' biggest weakness. Because that's what it is. It's just unknown weapons. I'm confident about what some of these guys are going to do. I'm confident that Courtland Sutton continues to be looked at as a true and legit wide receiver number 1 on the Denver Broncos. 10 touchdowns 2 years ago with Captain Cornball Russell Wilson throwing the ball, and then over 1,000 yards this year with Bo Nix throwing the football. He's put back-to-back seasons together that make him stand out as a top, numbers-wise, 12 to 15 wide receiver in the NFL. I believe I know what I'm getting out of Courtland Sutton. After that, I think there's some unknown. Even with Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram has some history to be successful in this league. Not under Sean Payton, not with Bo Nix throwing him the football. We just don't know what that's going to look like. Marvin Mims in weeks, I always like to call it 10 through 18, kind of a rough estimate of a timeline of when he started to pop and show up. All right, that was great. But it took you a year and a half to get to that point where you just started to show up. Can Marvin hit the ground running and be that same guy that he was in weeks 10 through 18 from week 1 through 18? We've never seen that either. They have Devon Vele, a 7th-round pick that overperformed by a mile a year ago. Is he going to be the same guy? Can he be even better than the 400-yard receiver he was as a rookie? And then Troy Franklin, well, all that dude has to do is catch the dang ball. You know, that's pretty important as a wide receiver because he's got the speed to create the space and separation for Bo Nix to throw him the ball. Kid just got to catch the damn thing. And then Pat Bryant. Pat Bryant, I've talked about him here as well. If Troy Franklin or Devon Vele don't pop and take that next step sooner rather than later, you're going to see Pat Bryant get a lot of those opportunities. So, like I said, if you want to call their unknown weapons the biggest weakness, I think that's more than fair. But I believe, knowing what Courtland Sutton is, the connection between Courtland and Bo, that's going to be all right. The connection that we saw start to form between Bo and Marvin Mims, I think that will be all right. But outside of that, what are they going to do offensively? I can't trust Troy Franklin right now. I think if you're in Broncos country sitting there saying you trust Troy Franklin, you're either just a giant Ducks fan or, blindly following the orange and blue, which is fine too. That's what fans are supposed to do. And then Pat Bryant, well, he's a rookie. Some people, my radio partner, Cecil Lammy, he says you got to give rookie wide receivers a 3-year runway before you can call them the B word. I'm talking about bust, of course. So we're not there with any of those guys. It's Marvin's 3rd year, but the way he came on late, I'd be hesitant to even lean in towards that B word that is bust. The running backs, that's, again, unknown. J.K. Dobbins has done it at the NFL level, but he did it last year with a run-first football team. You think that's what Sean Payton is? Heck no, that's not what Sean Payton is. So running backs, question mark. Tight end, question mark. And both groups have one player that's done it at the NFL level. So you should feel pretty good about that, Broncos country. Wide receivers, I just went over it. Again, one player that you feel pretty good about. But you know who is the biggest strength on that weakness that is the offense? It's a second-year quarterback, Bo Nix. Their offensive coordinator, all the coordinators talked last week at the end of, I guess it was mandatory minicamp last week. And Lombardi, who's the offensive coordinator, not really sure what he does because Sean calls all the plays. He specifically went out of his way to mention something that Bo Nix said. Bo Nix came up to him after a play, and it's his words, it's a play-action play, and it's something that they're running more often than not. Bo comes over to Lombardi and says, man, this is so much easier this year, this time around, because I'm not thinking as much. I'm not thinking about my footwork. 1, 2, 3, plant, throw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plant, throw. Whatever it may call for. He's just going out and playing football. He's got better command in the huddle. That's number 2. Not struggling over a 25-word play call that Sean Payton has to rattle off in his ear and then him get it out. And if you remember last year, Broncos country, they're coming to the line of scrimmage with like 10 to 12 seconds to go. There's no time to send somebody in motion to get an idea of what the defense is going to do. Are they in man? Are they in zone? With Bo being able to get that out of his mouth a little bit sooner, you get to the line of scrimmage with 16 seconds left, 17 seconds left on the play clock. Send Marvin Mims in motion. Oh, the inside corner or heck, the linebacker is going to cover Marvin Mims. Well, that's exactly where Bo is going with the football. So yeah, their biggest weakness is the unknown, but I know about Bo Nix, and I know he's the real deal and good enough to overcome some of those unknown weapons until we get to about week 8 and the NFL world's talking about Devon Vele, talking about Troy Franklin, and certainly going to be continuing talking about Bo Nix. Broncos country, what say you? Am I off on the strengths and weaknesses? All good. If you disagree, let me know in the comments section. And while you're there, like and subscribe and check out everything we're doing here at Denver Sports. I got Dover on Denver. Cease and Mace got orange and blue, hoops, hockey, all kinds of fun stuff. Richie Carney doing his show every single day. Make sure you're subscribing, liking, and watching everything we do. This has been Dover on Denver, and now I'm done.